All right, guys. So welcome to the Team Panacea call for those of you that are here. Um, but I want to welcome you to the call and encourage you to try and show up for these calls live. One of the things about these calls, I understand that it's busy. We're all busy, and sometimes it's inconvenient. But I'm going to tell you that success is inconvenient. One of the first lessons that I learned with Beachbody was I went to a seminar that was out of state. I didn't have the money for it. I didn't have the time on the books for it, and all of these other things when I planned it. But I said, you know what? I'm going to go because the coach who I wanted to learn from, and I said, teach me how to do what you've done, which is be $1 million earner. She said, do this. And at first I gave her all these excuses about why I couldn't. And then I said, you know what? Why would I be the same kind of customer or coach that drives me crazy when they ask me, how do I succeed? How do I get these kind of results? And I tell them, this is what you need to do. And then they tell me all the reasons they can't do what I told them to do. And so I'm like, well, why'd you ask me in the first place then? If you really don't care what I say, why are you asking me in the first place? And so I went to that seminar, and that seminar, like I said, it was actually in Arizona. I roomed with Dave Ward, and it was a goal-setting seminar. It was a really great seminar, but the thing that I learned from that seminar more than anything else was that success is inconvenient, and I went there and I hung out with other successful people, and honestly, some of them, it was like their fourth or fifth or sixth, seminar like that. And I was like, I'm not sure you're paying attention because, they were still doing the same thing or still had the same job or whatever. And their goals were the same thing that they'd been 4 or 5 years earlier. But I made that happen. And since then, I've carried that lesson, and I've tried to tell other people that lesson too, that, we have to do things that other people aren't willing to do. That's why 20% of the coaches in the business, if we're just looking at the earnings potential, 20% of the coaches in the business, earn at least triple their money. And then the others earn something other than that, but an emerald earns on average triple what they're spending in a year. But only 20% of the people that are coaches do that. And the reason that they do that, the reason that they're able to make emerald is because they're willing to do things that other people aren't willing to do. The reason that people make diamond is because they're like, well, yeah, you know what? The Stars are playing right now, and I really would like to watch the Stars on hockey or, the playoffs. But you know what? I got a team call, and I'm supposed to be on that team call. And I can pause that, and I can catch up to it later. There are other things. I'd rather listen to Lady Gaga or Bradley Cooper singing about the Shallows or whatever that is, when I'm driving around in the truck. But instead, I'm going to listen to something that's going to improve my life, or I'm going to be using my Bluetooth speaker to call Coach Relations and sort something out, or call my accountant, or do something with my time to where it's productive. I'm going to get an Audible account so that when I'm doing the dishes or I'm doing anything, preparing my food, I can be doing something else. And, even if it's something, maybe if I'm going to be multitasking like that, maybe I'm going to be listening to Jim Rohn's Art of Exceptional Living, something that I've heard many, many times. So it's just kind of there in the background. So I'm learning through osmosis or something. And then later when I can point to it and I can pay attention to it, that's when I'm going to have the attention to it and be able to take notes and things like that. But success isn't an accident. People don't accidentally become diamond. They don't even accidentally become emerald. If you don't sign up to be a Beachbody coach, or, you can't sign up to be a Beachbody coach and, and then just post on Facebook, your picture with your shake and you got the TV screen behind you and it's the first time that you've ever posted and expect that, 4 or 5 people are going to knock on your door and be like, hey, I hear you're selling challenge packs. That's not how this business goes, and when people talk about, that they don't want to be salesy or they don't want to do this or they don't want to do that, the thing that I got to tell them is that you're doing it wrong. First of all, you don't have the belief in the programs or the products, maybe because you haven't done it. But if you do this and you do it right, it'll absolutely change your life. You guys have heard me say that many, many times. It's just whether or not you want to do it. But when I was talking to people about Beachbody, whether it was P90X in the beginning or whether it was the workouts. In my mind, I would have goosebumps when I was talking to them. And I was like, I'm doing you a favor. You're lucky, that we're really having this conversation. I got to be honest, because when I signed up, I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it right. And it absolutely changed my life, whether it was the workout or the business side of things. Either one of them, if you do it and you do it right, it'll absolutely change your life. The reason that P90X worked or 21 Day Fix works or any of these programs works is because we have an outline and directions on do this step and this step and this step and this step, and you will achieve results. And Beachbody is the same way. You have the 4 vital behaviors. You have to reach out to X number of people. You have to start conversations. And the thing that most people, myself included, really forget to do is just to send out invites. Say, hey, you know what? I'm going to be doing this program, or I'm in the middle of this program, and we've got a really great group, and I just was thinking maybe you'd want to be a part of that. Is that something you're interested in? And what's the worst they could do? The worst they could do is say no. And so who cares? Who cares if they say no? And we have to get out of our own way as far as our obstacles and things like that. When somebody's like, oh, you know what, I'm too busy. I'm working too much overtime. Wow, you're working a lot of overtime? Well, that's exactly why you should be a successful Beachbody coach. Oh, you need to spend more time with your kids, helping them do homework or going to scouts or taking them to jiu-jitsu or soccer games or whatever. That's why you should be a successful Beachbody coach, so you can build your own schedule if that's what you want to do. And whether it's, say it's volunteer work, that's fine. There are things that people want to volunteer for, and that's fine, and it's noble, and it's fantastic. But when you're volunteering, they have to pay for the things that you're using to volunteer for also, right? And so, I remember talking to one of my friends who's a very successful coach, and her name is Brandy. But I mean, she's talking about that, that some people, and this has been on team calls too, but like where a church, and her example, I'm going all over the place. Brandy, short story. Brandy bought her church a gym, right? Like a basketball gym. It was like a $30,000 building, and she was like, you know what? I'll let somebody else sign up, to serve food at the Wednesday luncheon or something like that. While people are serving food at the Wednesday luncheon, I'm going to build my business to where the next time they ask for some sort of, donation that other people aren't going to be able to do, because honestly, 99% of the people in that particular congregation can probably serve food at a luncheon or do these other things. But there's only a couple of them that might be able to write a big check for some sort of donation. So, there are ways to help and there are ways to contribute. And so what you want to do is perhaps contribute in a way that only you can, and let somebody else contribute in a way that, that they can, that you could too. But if you contribute in that way, then you might not find yourself contributing in the other way. And I had something I was following up with on that. But the obstacles that we put in front of ourselves, if we really think about it, whether it's, time, money, time with kids, all of these things. I'm too tired. I don't have the energy. Oh my gosh, that's the biggest one. That's why you should do this. If you're too tired, you don't have enough time in the day, then that's exactly why you should be doing these things. And if you haven't done one of the programs and done it right, then it's going to be hard for you to share that with other people. And they're going to kind of see through it. It's when I'm talking to people and they're like, hey, I'm going to do this Beachbody thing, but, I'm not going to use Shakeology because I use my own shake and I do my own workout and, and all these other things, that doesn't work. It never, ever, ever works. I mean, there's people on my team right now that signed up, without, I told him he couldn't sign up with me, but he did anyway. And he's been inactive for a year and a half, and he keeps telling me, that he's about to get active. He's about to start Shakeology or whatever, and so that will take me to the other side of this. And I'm speaking in particular, I guess maybe to the summer push group or to the new coaches, is, you know, like I kind of said earlier, don't get hung up, or I posted earlier, you know, don't get hung up in reading every single thing and knowing every single thing that there is instead of talking to people, right? You know, the analogy that I use is somebody gets, you know, two people get this really nice car. And so one of them, they sit in the garage and they read the manual, you know, front to back, and then they study it and they highlight it and they do all these other things. And while they're doing that for the first 2 or 3 weeks, the other guy's already got, you know, 3,000 miles on his car, and he's out picking up friends, and they're having a great time and all that stuff. That's the guy you need to be. All you got to know is, you know, that one pedal makes it go, the other pedal makes it stop, and then you go like this, you know, to avoid the hard things. And then you go out there and you figure out the rest as you go. Or you can sit there and you can be like, oh, wait, you know, I need to set up my links on my coach page. You know, I need to get business cards. I need to wrap my car. You know, I need to do all of this crazy stuff that a lot of us, myself included, I didn't wrap my car, but I got business cards. I probably bought 1,000 of them. I got like 975 left. And those 25 I gave out to other coaches, right? Because nobody uses business cards anymore. And it's all about, you know, building relationships with people. If you've got, you know, chrisreed.com Beachbody P90X on the back of my truck, you know, and somebody's driving and you know, and they see the P90X bumper sticker or banner or whatever, you know, they're not going to be like, oh, you know what, let me stop and write down that phone number and that email address or something like that. They're going to get home or they're going to just, you know, use Siri and be like, hey, Siri, remind me to Google P90X when I get home. And, you know, they're not going to get it from me. I just made a sell for somebody else. So it's about adding people to your conversation and helping people find out what it is they want. You know, ask them what it is they want and be excited about the opportunity to actually help them achieve those goals. You know, when you're just getting started in this business, you reach out to people and you're like, you know, your friends and family and the people you love first, and you go to them and you're like, look, you know what, this might seem crazy, but you know, I'm about to blow this thing up. You know what, maybe I've struggled in the past, maybe you're just getting re-engaged or something like that, but you know, I'm in a group and we're going to crush it. I see the potential now and I'm going to do it. I'm taking this thing to the moon, and I'm looking for my friends and family and the people that I love and I want them to go with me. And you're one of those people. I'm coming to you now because I don't want 6 months from now or a year from now, when I'm already that far on my journey, I don't want you to come to me or look at me and be like, why didn't he ask me? And I'm going to tell you that exact thing happened to me at one point, you know, about a year or so into my business, where, you know, there was a guy at the PD that I said no to. You know, I said no for him. You know, he was just a very serious guy. It just didn't seem like his thing. He wasn't at all present on social media. And you know, when I finally asked him, he was like, you know, honestly, I'm kind of pissed that you didn't ask me a long time ago. I mean, it seems like you asked like everybody in the PD. And I was trying to figure out why you didn't want to work with me, why we didn't ever have this conversation. And I was like, dude, I'm so sorry. You know, I just didn't listen to my own advice, and I just didn't think this would be something you were interested in. And, you know, he was one of my diamonds for a while, and as things go, you know, it fell out and he doesn't do it anymore. He got stupid fit. I'm talking about Sean Holt, Dennis, in case you were curious. But, you know, he got stupid fit. He still is super fit. And, you know, and so even though this business wasn't something that he decided to stay with, he's still stupid fit, you know, because he was introduced to a lifestyle that he found attractive and he found benefits from it. So even though, you know, he decided maybe coaching wasn't for him, I've impacted that guy's life now because I had that conversation with him reluctantly, probably because it was the 29th or something like that, and I needed my 6 points or whatever. But at some point I had that conversation with him, and, you know, he's not the only one. I said no for somebody else too, because I just thought that she was too busy, and, you know, even though she was a neighbor of ours. And then, you know, when I brought her to a business opportunity meeting, you know, the next day she signed up 5 coaches, and she's still a coach on the team. She's gone through some ups and downs personally and stuff like that, but she's still around. And so, you know, that's the other thing, kind of like when I was talking earlier, maybe before I started this recording, about people burning out on something, or, you know, deciding, hey, this doesn't work anymore. And I think, you know, what happens is that we decide, well, I don't think this works anymore. We get burned out on it. So we stop doing it with the same excitement and the same fervor and the same dedication. And so because we lower those qualities in how we're conducting ourselves, then the effectiveness lowers. And so then we're like, well, this doesn't work anymore. And then we stop. Meanwhile, other people are doing it and kicking tail at it still because they haven't burned out, or they've got a better way to cycle through things. And, you know, and that's the same thing. The reason that mentoring helps me, and the reason that even speaking on calls like this helps me, is because it reminds me, hey, dummy, you know, you've done these things before. These exact things that you're telling people to do or not to do, you've made those same mistakes many, many times. You know, even after you give a call 6 months later, you might do exactly what you said not to do on that call. So, you know, as you're leading your coaches, you have to understand that it's also going to be beneficial to you. So you want to be mentoring these people and helping them, but you want to also be looking for people who are looking for you, and working with people who are working for you. If somebody asks you your advice and then they tell you why you can't do it, or why they can't do it, you know, then there's only a limited amount of time that you can spend on those people. And then you just have to cut them loose and say, you know what, hey, do you, man. Whatever it is you want to do, you do you, and best luck. Best luck to you. And, you know, there's going to be people like that on your team that are coaches and customers. And that's hard. It's hard even now for me to understand that, because sometimes we operate with a scarcity mindset. You know, even if they're asking a bunch of questions, even if they're not listening to anything you say, right? Because they're asking a bunch of questions, you're like, oh my gosh, I got to keep trying. And, you know, and that's fine as long as it's not getting in the way of the other things that you're doing. But the things that we have to do is reach out to people every single day. Reach out to new people, start conversations, just say hi, you know, just click on something that they, click on a comment, click on like, ask them how that trip was, you know, ask them, how long they've had their dog, or whatever it is. You know, when you have these conversations with people, if it's somebody who takes the conversation the wrong way and, you know, just completely comes out of left field with your intentions, then get rid of them off your Facebook. You don't need those kind of people anyway, you know. And if somebody's hateful to me, then I'll get rid of them right away anyway, because not only are they being hateful to me, they're clearly not going to, you know, just be anybody that I would want in my business anyway. So those conversations are super short-lived. Goal setting and making, you know, and doing the things that we need to do. And here's what I'm going to close on is, you know, like I posted in the group, that you have to believe what you're going to, you know, you have to believe in your goals, and you have to believe what it is that you're going to accomplish. And like I'm saying, when I ask somebody, hey, are you going to make Success Club? And they tell me anything other than yes, then I don't write them down in the yes column. I've got a deal over here. These are the people that I think are going to make Success Club. And if you tell me, you know, I'm working on it, I got irons in the fire, you know, anything other than yes, I'm going to make it, then you know, I don't count on you making it. Now, that's not to say that everybody that tells me yes, I'm going to make it, makes it, but it does tell me that they're serious about this business and they do have the right mindset. You know, they are speaking victory to themselves. It's like Eric Thomas talked about in that Harvest video. You know, before his book was published, he would tell people, hey, I'm Eric Thomas, I'm an author, you know. And we did, you know, I did a little bit of that when I was getting started too, that whole fake it till you make it thing. You know, I went and I hung out with the other successful coaches, and I bought the little fancy rhinestone jeans they bought and all these other little things. I was like, this is what successful coaches do, and this is what successful coaches look like. And I'm not nearly as successful as these people where, you know, I should be spending $180 on a pair of jeans, but I'm going to do it because, you know, in my mind, that's what successful coaches do. And so I did it. And I'm going to tell you guys, it actually works. You know, I mean, I'm not saying that for you, the answer is buy a $180 pair of jeans, but I'm saying put it in your head and carry yourself like you're a successful coach or whatever it is you want to be successful at. You know, carry yourself in the way that you want to be seen and the way that you want to be presented. You know, there's a there's a saying about, you know, dress like the job you want to get, not the job you have, or something along those lines. It applies all the way across the boards. So anybody have anything you want to add or questions on that? And you know, we're running a little long because we started a little late, but you know, I took some sage advice from Kim Bickle, and we went ahead and ran something and spoke on some stuff. Wow, it got dark while the call was going, Katie. But anybody have any comments or anything? I'm not going to say this 4 or 5 times because Cody gets mad when I ask that question 4 or 5 times. Anybody? Questions or comments? See, I did it twice. That's it. Not happening again.
Okay. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate your valuable content and recording this and making it available, because I know I have some coaches on my team who would watch it. So thank you.
All right. Awesome. Okay, guys. We've got, what, 26 hours to make Success Club, right? Give or take. Make it happen. Some of you know who I'm talking to. I'm looking at one particular person in particular. So do it, and you're going to create your story later, because later when your coach is like, oh my gosh, you know what, I only have 2 points or whatever, you're going to be like, you know what, I know exactly how you feel. Feel, felt, found, right? I know exactly how you feel. I felt the same way, but what I found was if I busted my tail and I did the work and I called in some favors if needed, if I did that, then I could make it happen. And that's the story that you're going to tell other people on your team when later they come to you with the same kind of obstacles. All right? Awesome. Thank you guys for being on the call. Love you, and see you next time.